He stepped back at the peak of his career. He chose silence over scripts. And suddenly, one question shook the fandom worldwide. Is Wang Yibo really pausing everything in 2026? Just to align with Xiao Zhan? January 2026 didn't begin quietly. It arrived with a pause so loud it echoed across fandom timelines. Wang Yibo, a name synonymous with relentless momentum, appeared to slow down. No drama announcements, no filming rumors, no familiar entering crew updates that once defined his calendar. This wasn't absence. It was restraint. At a moment when most actors accelerate, riding awards, capitalizing on success, Yibo did the opposite. After War of Faith crowned him with another career peak, logic suggested one path forward. More roles, bigger scripts, tighter schedules. But logic didn't arrive in 2026. Instead, silence did. Fans noticed the shift long before headlines caught up. His online presence changed tone. Less about characters, more about motion, speed, solitude. Racing tracks replaced sound stages. Brand shoots felt distant, controlled, deliberate. Every post seemed to say one thing without words. I am choosing. And choice, in this industry, is never accidental. The fandom began asking questions that felt dangerous to ask out loud. Why now? Why slow down here? Why create space when the industry was offering more than ever? Because in entertainment, pauses often mean preparation. And preparation always has a direction. By the end of January, one thought settled heavily in the collective mind. This wasn't rest. This was timing. Every career has invisible deadlines. For Wang Yibo, one of them sits in October 2026. His contract with Untamed is scheduled to reach its end. No public confirmation. No official statements. Just a date that fans know carries weight. Then came that sentence. Short, vague, uncomfortably poetic, galloping toward the new goal. To outsiders, it was harmless. To fandom, it was seismic. Because in this industry, artists don't talk about new goals without reason. They talk about schedules. They talk about characters. They talk about projects. Goals are something else. Goals imply direction beyond what already exists. Soon after, reports began circulating, not as facts, but as patterns observed. Multiple offers, different genres, all quietly passed over. Not rejected forever, just not now. That phrase alone fueled speculation. Because not now suggests a later, and later suggests alignment. Meanwhile, his schedule filled with everything except dramas. Professional racing intensified. Adventure variety programs took priority. Luxury brands locked him in as a symbol, not a character. This wasn't disappearing. It was repositioning. Fans began to whisper what they were afraid to hope. He's clearing space. Space in this industry is power, and power is rarely gathered without purpose. While Wang Yibo's calendar seems to open wider, Xiao Zhan's remains tightly packed, and that contrast is impossible to ignore. As 2026 unfolds, Xiao Zhan is still deeply immersed in his work. Far from the spotlight and trending rumors, he is filming A Good Remedy for a small town in a remote location. Long shooting days, isolated sets, a role that demands emotional restraint and quiet intensity rather than spectacle. Insiders point to an early February wrap, and that detail matters. Because once this project concludes, Xiao Zhan does not disappear, but his pace shifts. His next major film, 10 Days to the End, is scheduled to begin filming in April 2026. Not immediately, not back-to-back. There's a gap, a rare one. Between February and April, something almost never seen in recent years appears: breathing room. For the first time in a long while, Xiao Zhan's schedule loosens just as Wang Yibo's seems intentionally cleared. Two trajectories moving independently suddenly begin to mirror each other, not in content, but in timing. Fans noticed, quietly at first, then obsessively. This isn't about assuming collaboration. It's about recognizing alignment. In an industry where schedules are weapons and timing is currency, overlap is never meaningless, especially not for two stars whose past connection still defines an era. The idea that both could, even briefly, stand at the same crossroads again sends a familiar ache through the fandom. Because history taught them that moments like this don't announce themselves loudly. They pass quietly, unless someone is watching closely enough. And fandom always is. They don't call it gossip. They don't call it a rumor. They call it the 2026 theory. It didn't begin this year. It didn't even begin loudly. Born in the aftermath of the Untamed, the theory survived years of silence, separation, and professional distance. It lived in private chats, late-night threads, and unspoken understanding among fans who refused to believe that such a story could end without intention. At its core, the theory is not romantic, it is strategic. It suggests that both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan would eventually reach a moment where they reclaimed full control of their careers. Not as rookies, not as products of agencies, but as artists with leverage. For Wang Yibo, that moment points unmistakably to October 2026, when contractual boundaries may dissolve and choices become truly his own. For Xiao Zhan, it arrives differently, through years of consistency, through rebuilding trust, through projects that slowly return creative authority to his hands. Two different journeys, one shared destination, autonomy. What keeps the theory alive isn't confirmation, but silence. Neither Wang Yibo nor Xiao Zhan has ever publicly denied reunion speculation. They don't tease it. They don't encourage it. They simply let it exist. In fandom language, this absence of denial carries weight. They call it silent facts, the things not said because saying them would close doors that may still need to open. Add to that their parallel presence in global influence rankings, their simultaneous recognition as cultural icons beyond borders, their continued relevance to the same generation of viewers. The idea that their paths might intersect again stops sounding unrealistic. It starts sounding delayed. Edits resurface. Old scenes gain new resonance. Lines once dismissed as fiction feel heavier now, viewed through the lens of time and restraint. Not because something is promised, but because something was never resolved. And then comes the loudest element of all. Nothing. No press statements. No agency clarifications. No strategic denials. Wang Yibo continues posting fragments of a life carefully curated outside of drama sets. Racing tracks, brand imagery, quiet moments that suggest intention rather than absence. Xiao Zhan continues sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses from his current work, focused, composed, unwavering in professionalism. To skeptics, the explanation is simple. This is rest. This is negotiation strategy. This is a calculated pause after years of relentless demand. And that explanation is not wrong. But fandom has never survived on logic alone. Fandom survives on memory, on emotional continuity, on the belief that some stories are paused, not ended. This moment isn't about fantasy or shipping narratives. It's about endurance, about fans who waited without demanding answers, who stayed when distance replaced proximity, who believed that silence could be protective, not dismissive. October 2026 looms like a locked door. Heavy, symbolic, impossible to ignore. No one knows what waits behind it, but everyone feels the pressure of that handle, tightening with every passing month. Is this careful alignment the quiet preparation for something shared? Or simply two artists choosing independence at the same moment in history? No one can answer that yet. But one truth remains immovable. Every post will be examined. Every pause will be interpreted. Every silence will speak louder than words. And if, just once, one frame, one project, one unexpected intersection places them back into the same narrative, the world will not ask questions first. It will remember. And maybe that is why the fandom keeps waiting.